Welcome to lecture number 2 in the course EEE 6221 Unified Communication. My name is Lubovia Charles. The presentation outline will cover, among others, evolution of communication systems, drivers to that evolution, structure of the voice over IP system, and then we'll zero in by tackling the key unified communication services such as voice, video conferencing, instant messaging, and emails, with a tutorial at the end. Now, in unified communication, what has been happening is traditional telecommunication systems and software-based communication systems have come closer to each other by way of collaborating. And that collaboration or merging of these technologies and systems have given birth to many unified communication services such as voice and video calling, instant messaging. It has even allowed for meetings to take place, such as this one where you may have WhatsApp meetings, Zoom meetings, Google Meet meetings, Teams meetings, and so on and so forth. But unified communication has also allowed a situation where communicating parties can share files and can integrate various apps on the same platform, same network, and in some cases, same technologies. So what has been driving this evolution of communication systems? Number one, it has to do with the advances in technologies in the telecom world, as shown on the top part of this diagram, and also advances in technologies in the IT world, in which case IT was predominantly known for data transmission, while the telecom world was predominantly known for voice transmission. And so, and within voice there, it started simple in 1837, the invention of the telephone, and then this was upgraded. By 1984, you had the more decent phones, all conveying voice signals. And after 1990, we saw the coming in of mobile phones together with advanced land phones. And then by 2012 and beyond, what we'll be seeing is mainly where within the mobile phones, many applications to include the voice, video, and so on, can all be facilitated via a mobile phone, and even other devices such as laptops, computers, are being developed to accommodate not only data, but also voice, instant messaging, video messages, and so on and so forth. Equally in the data world, which is denoted in the bottom part of this figure, we are seeing from simple file transfer, file sharing, to the advent of emails. And then from the emails, we have seen that you can also do instant messaging using your computer. You can also do voice now using your computer. And then these, as they converge with what was happening in the telecom world, has given birth now to what is known as unified communication. And unified communication now, it's possible to achieve voice transmission, data transmission, video transmission, thanks to one important thing that have brought these two technologies, and that is the advent of the internet. So internet was a game changer to bring about all these services, which are now enjoyed by millions and millions of people globally. So with internet, there was one important protocol that was invented there, and that was the Internet Protocol IP. And out of this protocol, several other protocols that are internet-based have made unified communication possible. Different layers of the OSI and TCP model. That is at the application layer, there are protocols there, presentation and session layers, there are protocols there, transport layer, there are protocols, network layer, there are protocols, data link and physical layer, there are accompanying protocols that all these put together have made unified communication possible. So that being said, then we need to look at what were some of the major drivers to achieve this evolution. Drivers include advances in the digital space with the coming of a diode and transistor in about 1948, meant that now communicating devices both in the telecom space as well as the IT space were improved to and issues of efficiency, issues of functionality to include more applications, more higher speed in terms of processing of data, compressing of signals, especially in the video space. All those were made possible thanks to advances in the digital world, and with the advances in digital components, it also meant that the cost of these components are reducing. The second driver there is globalization of services. Due to the coming of internet, now you are able to route voice calls, not only on the IT platform, but also on the telecom platform. And these services have also evolved. Now you have so many services to beyond the voice, including instant messaging, video calls, and so on. So this globalization of services, which were initially a preserve of certain technologies, has been opened, and now we are able to, access several services within the internet space. And coupled with that is the advances in the so many network technologies. Before we had public switch telephone network, which was predominantly for voice. But now we have Wi-Fi, which incorporates some technologies in the telecom and IT. You have cellular network incorporating technologies in the IT and telecom sector. And then we've got also WiMAX, satellite, and so on technologies, including broadband network technologies. All these have made the evolution towards unified communication possible. And then at the heart of this evolution is a driver to do with the arrival of internet. So internet changed everything, because now not only are you able to put voice, video, text, and emails on internet, you can also use the same internet to achieve instant messaging. Then the fourth driver was networking of universities and research institutes, organizations. Now, before, every organization, every university involved in research could do things in isolation, but there's this collaboration that has given birth to collaborative research, and therefore, through these researches, various technologies in the telecom and network have been merged to achieve unified communication. There's been also a development of new communication protocols and various protocols, various layers of the OSI TCP model. So protocols, a transport layer, for example, you have TCP, and real-time protocols there. All those have made unified communication and the evolution towards unified communication possible. The last driver there was the need for real-time communication. This real-time communication gave birth to the need to, how do we transmit video in real time, voice in real time, text in real time. So if you're doing video streaming for a live game, for example, how do you achieve that? So all those are made possible thanks to the evolution towards unified communication, where technologies in the IT world and the telecom world have merged and to achieve essentially unified communication. Next, I want us to discuss voice over IP structures. There are two major structures that we may consider to achieve voice over IP or transmission of voice and other multimedia content over the internet. So in the structure, the key thing there was the advent of the internet. Remember, this was one of the major drivers to unified communication. With internet, it meant that public switch telephone network with their traditional land phones and the fax machines could be, data from these devices could be put, essentially over the internet, and for voice to achieve voice over IP through the help of what is known as a voice over IP gatekeeper, gateway, which is given here. So it doesn't matter the analog and traditional devices that are connected to this PSTN, as long as you connect them via the voice over IP gatekeeper, you could still achieve voice over IP, basically transmit multimedia, videos, pictures, as well as voice over the IP. Equally, if you have the cellular network, you could still use the voice over IP gatekeeper to transmit voice, video, and data using your cell phone via the voice over IP gatekeeper and achieve transmission of voice. And if it is from the PCs, you could still achieve that by way of using a switch or a hub connected there to the router and in the internet. And that way you could actually achieve voice over IP. So that is structure number one. But in that structure, what was key there was the advent of the voice over IP gateway or gatekeeper, because it is this one hardware device that could convert analog telephone signals from a PSTN network. It is this same one device that could be connected whereby mobile phones could connect and still achieve voice over IP. And again, this same device could convert the signal, organize it into data packets, encrypt them, and then transmit them from the either cellular network system or public switch telephone network over the IP or internet-based system to achieve voice communication. Doesn't matter the end devices, where they were analog or digital. So the voice over IP gateway or gatekeeper was very, very key there to achieve that transformation. In the second voice over IP structure there was an option to use what is known as the ATA. The ATA is simply an analog terminal adapter. The ATA here. The ATA could do the same function as the voice over IP gateway or gatekeeper, in that it could route analog phones and put them on the internet using the analog terminal adapter. And this terminal adapter could have several ports, as you can see in this diagram, and you could achieve a call from an analog phone to an IP phone, which was also connected via the IP PBX. So without changing a lot of devices and without throwing most of these analog phones, you could still achieve voice over IP. All you needed was to buy the analog terminal adapter or voice over IP gateway or gatekeeper, and you'd still achieve uh, voice over IP. So in the next diagram, I'm going to show now the position of the analog terminal adapter in relationship to other IP network and how you could still use it as shown here. That's your analog terminal adapter being wherein you could connect an analog fax, analog phones, and these analog phones could then be send the voice on an IP-based network, thereby achieving what is known as voice over IP, even on the traditional IP network. Next, I want to discuss now some of the advantages of voice over IP. This includes low cost because you would not need to change the entire network. All you needed to change were those two devices, voice over IP gatekeeper, or in some cases, you would also connect the analog terminal adapter. So therefore, the overall cost of the entire structure was reduced, was actually reduced instead of changing everything, throwing away the analog phones, throwing away the analog fax machines. You would only need basically to buy those two devices, any one of those two devices, and that reduced the cost of the migration from public switch telephone network to IP-based type of voice calls. The ATA also was portable. No extra cables were needed. It's just the device. The same RJ11 cables could connect to the ATA. It could connect even to the voice over IP gatekeeper. So there was that flexibility also, and you would also achieve video conferencing besides voice over IP. This then leads us to the discussion on the key unified communication services. There are 4 major services that could be achieved by a unified communication network, and that is voice calls, video or video conferencing calls, instant messaging, as well as emails. So let's discuss these services in a bit of some detail. Now, voice calls are essentially a communication between 2 individuals. Of course, in some cases, it could be from one individual to a number of individuals if you are involved in a voice conference call. But essentially, it means that when you are making these voice calls, you dial a number and then you have to wait for the other person to pick a call. And once he picks a call, you are involved in some conversation. But it may also happen that you may dial a number, no one picks the call, you try again, no one picks the call. You may probably even try, 5 to 10 times before someone calls or not even achieve a call. So that time you are spending as you are trying to make a call in engineering, that is actually wasted time. That is essentially wasted time. That's why in the second bullet there, we're saying phone calls are often an ineffective use of time because the caller may waste time calling multiple numbers, trying to track down a person. Each failed attempt to contact the individual is simply wasted time. And again, even when the person being called is available, answering that phone call by that individual means that you are going to be interrupted from whatever it is that you are doing in your office, in your home. And then as you suspend whatever you are doing in order to answer this call, so that interruption, comes at a cost. That's why in the last bulletin there, we are saying answering a phone call is generally an interruption of something else the person who is receiving that call is doing. So what I've discussed here basically are some of the drawbacks of voice calls. So voice calls, yes, they have an advantage. You can receive a call in real time and have a real-time conversation, but it has certain drawbacks such as that of wasted time and that of interruption. Phone calls are typically one-on-one conversation, yes, and if the same information needs to be conveyed to a whole team, it means the caller would need to either place it on multiple calls to repeat the same message. Or indeed, you may need to set up a conference call, which again may essentially take a lot of time. So with those weaknesses in voice communication, this is what necessitated the need to come up with email services. So email services overcomes the shortcomings of voice calls where there was wasted calls, there was some interruption, and they need to do find people via a voice conference calls. So senders can compose and send messages when it fits their schedule. That's when you're now migrating to email services. Recipients can read and respond to email when it fits their schedule. And then the email can be directed to many email addresses at the same time. And so you are able to reach multiple, even millions of people at the same time via group emails. So that being the case, however, what we are seeing here is email services was solving the problem of not wasting time, the problem of avoiding interruptions, but there's something else email services actually could do, because through an email, you could actually put a file attachment and share documents via some spreadsheet or Word document, PDF document. You could achieve file attachments, which was another advantage which voice communication could not achieve. You could also put a hyperlinks that could be accessed, where documents could be accessed using the web. But email services also provided an automatic written record of every conversation that you are typing as you are sending that email. Now you could have something that you could even refer back, because it's written, emails are written, and there are some attachments there which are also written. So you get this automatic written record of a conversation, written record of any attachment that you are putting, which was not the case in the traditional voice calls. So that being the case, however advantageous as it may be, email services also have their own drawbacks. Although email is delivered almost instantly around the world, there are times when you cannot guarantee that the email that you're sending, someone has seen it at the instant they are receiving it. It could probably take days before someone sees that email. So that drawback in emails meant that we needed to come up with another method of communicating, another method of relaying the information in an instant manner, in a true instant manner. The second drawback of email services was that the recipient had the option of not responding to those requests. For example, I receive an email, I may ignore it for days, ignore it for months. So the option of not responding to requests, so the absence of a receipt doesn't necessarily mean that the message wasn't received or read. So a person may not get a response, not necessarily because the email has not reached them, but they may not get a response just because this in particular individual has chosen not to read the message and therefore not to respond. And so email services had those two major weaknesses, and that necessitated now the need to move to what is known as instant messaging. So in instant messaging or chatting, this is a real-time conversation between two or more parties via the internet. It's actually a hybrid solution for the need to receive the message instantly, which was the advantage in voice transmission, and also to keep a written record, right, which is what we get in the email services. So, and that's why in the last bullet there, we are saying it is almost like a hybrid solution between voice and email, in the sense that it offers the immediacy or the instance of getting the message, which is the major advantage of voice. But you also get the second advantage in instant messaging. You have a written record, and therefore data retention is made possible because you have a written record of a chat, a written record of whatever it is that you are sending via instant messaging. So instant messaging also offered a couple of other new advantages in the communication mix. And these advantages included the idea that you could contact the person, instantly, because you could actually see them online. So you could be in a position to see, okay, a certain individual is connected on WhatsApp and I can see them, they're online, Instagram, Facebook, and so on. They are online. So that brought in and because you could see them online, then the concept of presence was then actualized through instant messaging, because you would choose to communicate, to the person you are able to see, you are sure is seeing the message, you are sure is connected, you are sure is even seeing you, and that's the whole essence of presence. The third advantage of instant messaging had to do with allowing you to multitask. You could be doing some texting here while doing other things. So instant messaging allows multitasking, and you could actually you could be doing other things while sending those instant messages. So it didn't do any disruption, which we see in voice calls. So that was one advantage. So instant messaging is a common component of unified communication experience. A messaging app provides normally real-time communication, file sharing, presence features, as well as data recording, whereby you could keep a record of whatever it is that you have sent via that instant messaging. So these features meant that it was actually incorporating advantages under voice communication, advantages under email services, all these coming together into instant messaging. So the benefits can further be discussed in detail in terms of real-time communication, persistent communication for people around the world, and also convenience as one other benefit. The other benefit has to do with team building. You're able to be involved in a kind of a team, and whereby you can carry out some conversation, as a team, better collaboration with other individuals, and you can also keep a record of whatever it is that you are conversing. The next unified communication service is video calls or video conferencing. This one provides a number of benefits. By the way, in video conferencing, it means that you are involved in a video call with different people located in different locations, either within the country and outside the country. And when you are involved in such a video call or video conferencing call, there are a number of benefits that you are going to accrue. Number one, save significant time, for on internal corporate meetings instead of, within your organization having to leave each one their offices to go to a certain meeting or maybe a boardroom and have a physical meeting. You can just have this internal corporate meeting via video conferencing services, and you're able to have a meeting at the comfort of your office. You can also save time on sales meetings with prospective customers. If your customer is located in another town, another office, another organization, another company, and you're trying to engage these, you're a sales person, you're trying to engage these customers, you can engage them in the comfort of your office without necessarily traveling to where these customers are. That way you are saving significant time. Also, meetings with partners to discuss marketing strategies who could be outside the organization, outside your city, outside your country, outside your continent even. All these you save significant times via video conferencing calls. So you save money for airfare, especially if there's need to travel outside the town, outside the country, and outside the continent. You save time on airfare. You save time on the need to pay for lodging, buy hotel lodging. You save time when you are in that country to rent a car, to drive. You save time even on incidental expenses. But another major advantage for video calls is that you save what we call productivity time. The time that you are, instead of traveling, you are in your office, then that means you become, the other things within the office will start moving. So you become productive, so you save lost productivity, time on travel time, doing other things. So because you have not traveled, you engage in this video conferencing call, which will last probably 10 minutes. And then after 10 minutes, you carry on with other activities that pertains to your office. And that way you become productive as opposed to having to get on a car, get to the airport, get on the airplane, get to this country. That time you are spending, sometimes that time could be a function of days. So instead of losing days, losing hours, you are maximizing those hours to do other things once the conference call is over. And besides, to achieve video conferencing, you just need very, very simplified gadgets. You need a camera, microphone, speaker, computer, monitor, and internet. The camera, microphone, speaker, and computer could be on one device, such as your laptop. All you need is to connect your internet. You don't necessarily need to have separate gadgets, like a separate camera, separate microphones, separate speakers, separate computer. All these may be put in one, such as in your mobile phone or even in your laptop, and achieve video conferencing call. Some of the benefits of video conferencing call is reduction in the need for travel, increase in productivity, supports for humanized remote working, but there are also some demerits. And one of those major demerits is that sometimes the technology can fail you. You are connected on the internet, suddenly there's an internet disruption, the meeting fails to take off, or the meeting ends abruptly. Or it could be some delay as you are broadcasting this video call. It will be subject to latency issues, jitter, end-to-end delay, packet loss, and packet drops, congestion issues in the network. So there will be time delay between responses. As you are involved in a video conferencing, it will really not be as the same as when you are involved in a physical meeting. So, but with advances again in the internet and other issues, such time delay has reduced dramatically, and you can now still achieve video conferencing with quality almost equal to a physical meeting. But suffice to mention that sometimes your system may fail. You may have those latencies, which is a major demerit of video conferencing as well. Also, the audio quality may be poor. Sending a video, which is a video picture, is one thing, and having the quality that you should have is one thing. But also on the audio part of that video, it may be of poor quality. So they need to basically ensure that the picture quality matches the audio quality, and that the two are in synchronism is one aspect which unified communication must deliver. So this marks the end of our lecture, but I've given a few tutorial questions for you to try. Otherwise, I thank you for your attention. This marks the end of this lecture.